Hello and welcome to Information Technology Video Developer Network. My name is Abdurrashid Hamid. I'm a certified Microsoft specialist working for Cyber Bionic Systematics. The topic of our lesson today is methods. We're going to take a look at what methods are, how to create methods, and the uses of methods. So without any further ado, let's start our lesson. A method is a special construction in C# language that allows grouping of programming codes like variables, conditionals, and loops. You should remember these because we have just looked at them in our previous lessons. So, let's look at this and see what this box means here. This is like a representation of a method here. You see, we have an input here and an output here. Here we are putting something inside and we're getting something outside. So this is like an input, output. So like keyboard and your screen. You input something and you get output. And you see a mechanism here. It means there is a process here. Something is happening in here. But what is happening in here? Let's take a look at what we put inside. We put 1 bit inside and we're getting 2 bits. So something must be happening here. You can think of it as an increment. Yes, it's correct. This is an increment since we put 1 and we get 2. So we've increased something here. It's very interesting to know how this works, but I will show you in our next slide very soon. So a method is a named part of a software that can be called from other parts of a program as many times as possible. I want you to pay attention to this as many times as possible because this is basically the use of a method. It is a type of a construction that we can call somewhere within our program and it will react and it will do the same operation. It will carry out the same operations we want. So, as many times as possible or as many times as necessary means that a method is reusable. I will show you that as soon as we go into our examples. Now we have a box, we put something inside, we get something outside. Just like a blender, for example. You put, let's say, carrots inside, it blends them and gives you carrot juice or whatever. So here you have a simple representation of a method. But let's take a look at what is happening in here. Let's go to the next slide and see. Here we have the same example, but in this case we have what is happening inside. We have the mechanism that is increasing this 1 bit to 2 bits. So we have an increment here. Now, this is our method. This is called the signature of our method. A method, this whole thing, has 2 parts. It consists of the signature and the body of a method. So our signature and the body of our method is what a method consists of. But then again, our signature also has 3 parts. These are, first of all, the name of the method. This is the name of the method. In this case, we have addition. So you must have a name of a method, and then you have the input value. This is called like parameter or argument. In this case, we have the type of argument we're putting in and the value. So we have byte argument. This is a description of our input. It can be called a parameter or an argument. I personally prefer calling it arguments, but you can call it parameters. Then here at the very beginning, we have byte. This is the description of what we want out, like the type that we want to come out. It's our return type value. So this is the value that we want to be returned. So we have return value, name of our method, and of course a description of our input, which is called an argument or a parameter. Then in the body of our method we have an argument and we assign the argument an increment sign. We have argument plus plus, meaning increment by 1. So we're increasing the value of this argument by 1. So we assign it to our argument. Now, if our argument was equal to 1, if we add 1 to 1, what we will get is 2. So our return will be 2. That's how return is like output here. We have input, output, and this is our increment. Okay, we increase this by 1. So this is basically how the simplest of methods work. But of course, we are going to take a look at even more complicated types of methods. Now, let's go to our example and I will show you how a method can be called and how a method simply works. So here we are checking the first example. In the first example, what we have done here is in line 12, we've created a method and named our method procedure, okay? Void, static void, don't worry about this, I'll explain later, but let me just tell you a little about void. Void simply means that there is nothing in there. It doesn't return anything, it's empty, okay? Like, let's say for example, console. If you were to click on console and press F12, you would see a lot of things in here. A lot of things that the console can do. But let's close this and see what void can do. F12 on our void, nothing. It's zero. It's empty. Okay. So this is just like a simple explanation, but of course I will explain a little bit deeper later as we go on. So here we've created our method and we've named it procedure. Okay. Procedure is the name of our method, and in the body of our method we have written something here. We want hello to be returned to us. So we have console write line hello. So we want hello to be our value for our method. So if you call procedure, what you should get is hello, not procedure, but hello. Okay. Now, here we have our main method. Again, we have static void main. Main, if you remember, it's the main entry, is the entry point of our program. That is where the computer first goes into, and it starts from here, and then maybe you can call something else later, or a conditional or whatever. So here in line 21, which is in the body of our main method, we are calling procedure. Procedure is our method, so we are calling our method. Now, if we call method, what we should see is hello. Okay, so how do we call this method? Let's run this program and see if it would work. Here we have it. You have hello here. Okay, so this is how to create a method and call the method later on in your main body or later on in your code. Okay, now let's move on to the next example and I will quickly show you something before we continue with our presentation. Now, in line 12 here, we've also created a method, okay? And the name of our method is function. Now, it receives nothing because we didn't put anything here. If we put something in here, then it means it's receiving something. It has like something inside it. But here it doesn't receive anything, and it brings out something. Remember, void, it means no return. But string means it has something, it's giving us something out. So let's press F12 on string and see, you see a lot of things. So it's not void, it's string. Okay? Now, what we mean by string here is we want a return of some characters. Remember, that's why we use string, because we need characters. Okay? So in the body of our method, in line 14, we return the value of our method hello. We want this value to be returned when we call this method. Okay? So we've created our method. In the body of our method, we've written an instruction, return hello. Whenever I call function, you return this value to me. All right. Now, here we have the main body. It receives nothing and it gives you back nothing. So here we have created a local variable within the body of our main method, and we have assigned a value of function to it. We are like calling our function. Okay, so here we have created a string typed variable named my string and assign a value of our function to it, which is hello. We are calling back our method. So this is a local variable because it's inside the main body. If you have a variable inside the main body of your program, it means it's like a local variable. Okay, you have global variables and you have local variables. Then in line 24, what we are doing is we are displaying or we are printing the value of @string. So what is the value of @string? @string is calling function, and the value of function is hello. So when we run this program, what we should see is hello. Okay, let's try it and see. And here you go. You have hello with an exclamation mark. Do we have an exclamation mark here? Yes, we do. So you see we are calling our method. This is another way you can do it. All right, let's go back to our presentation and continue before I come back and show you something else. And we're back to our presentation. Remember, we have now seen what a method is and how to call a method. But I know I haven't shown you how this increment and decrement work, but I will show you, I promise, very soon. I'll even show you more. But before we do that, I want us to just finish this presentation and then go to the practical part of our lesson. All right. Now, look at this very carefully and you'll remember that we have input and output. Input and output. So this is one type of a method. Now we have different types of methods. In the next slide, here we have the 4 different types of our methods. Take note, we have functions and procedures. Functions are those types of methods that return some value. You can see here they have return, return. Some of them might have input, some of them don't have an input. The input can be 1, 2, or 3. It depends. But output is necessary. Output is obligatory for functions. Then we have procedures again. Procedures don't return anything to you. You might put something inside, but you're not getting anything out. Or if you don't put something inside, you're still not getting anything out. But now I would want to tell you that technically, procedures don't exist. Okay? Only functions exist. But logically, procedures also exist and we can use them. They have a use too. They have an application. So here you have input, output, no input, but you have an output. Here you have an input, no output, no input, no output. The rule is like this. For functions, they always return something. For procedures, they never return anything to you. Okay? So this we will also look at in our practical class. Let's move on to the next slide and quickly review how to create a method and signature and body. Here we have the signature. Here we have the body. Okay? The signature consists of type of return value, in this case string, the identifier or the name of the method, my method in this case, and then a formal argument. This is called formal arguments because we have factual arguments, we have formal arguments. This is a formal argument. I will show you factual arguments in our practical part. Now, and this is the body of the method. In the body of the method, you have just like a return value. You want to return this whenever this method is called. Okay? We have an argument here. Remember, console write line, and in open and close parentheses, what you have here is an argument. Okay? And this is our return value. This is what we want to be returned. Now, I'd also like to give you a tip. Whenever you are naming your method, try and name it according to the function it performs. Okay? Now, if it is, let's say, drawing a rectangle or drawing a square or a circle, write draw square. But please just use bare infinitives. Don't use to, don't use ing, just use bare infinitives. Okay? Verbs are usually used to name our methods. Fine. So let's go to the next slide, which is our last slide, and then go to our practical part. Now, in this last slide, what we have here are some rules of how to create a method and then how to invoke or how to call a method. So, here to create a method, it is necessary to specify the type of the value of the return value. If the method returns nothing, to specify void. What does this mean? Let's go back to our creation. Here we have return value. Here we want a string typed to be returned. If we don't want anything to be returned, we write void here. You remember we looked at void, it returns nothing. Yes? So, next we have choose a name for the method according to the action that it performs. Well, I just told you that. So, if the method accepts arguments, be sure to specify their type and name. If not, leave the arguments the argument brackets empty. So what is an argument? This is our argument. If we have an argument, if the method receives an argument, what you do is you write the type of the argument and then the name of the argument. If it doesn't receive anything, just leave this empty. You have your open and close parentheses, but you leave them empty. Okay? Now, let's go back again. And if the method has a return value, make sure the body of the method contains the key return. The type of return value of the method must match the type of value specified after the word return or the keyword return. What this means that if our method has a return value, this is our keyword return. And of course, the type of what we put in here has to be the same type we have here. Here we have hello, and of course it's a string typed variable, so we can have string here and it's okay. If you had, let's say 5, 6, 7, 8 here, then it would have been a different case. Now, let's take a look at how we can invoke or call a method. To invoke or call a method, what you do is you write the name of the method somewhere in your code where you want it to be invoked or called, then specify argument brackets after the name. After you invoke the method, you write the name of the method. For example, there we had my method, so you write my method and you put this parenthesis there. If the method takes some arguments, pass the appropriate number of arguments of the appropriate type. So if we have an argument here, you see here we have argument, argument. What this means is if our method has an argument, then if you're calling our method or if you're calling your method, what you have to do is you write that argument in the appropriate type. Okay? Fine. So next what we're going to do is we'll just continue with our practical class, the practical part of our class. All right. So back to the practical part of our class, let's just collapse example 2 since we have done it and move straight to exercise 3. Now, in exercise 3, you can clearly see that in line 11, we created a string type method. We created a method here, a new method. We named our method function, and it is returning something. What is it returning? It is returning a string valued something. So we have a string value to it. We are not inputting anything to it. That's why we left this open and close parenthesis empty. But we want to return something. No input, but we have an output. And our output is a string type. So in the body of our method here, what we have is we have created a string type variable named word and assigned hello to it. So now in the body of the method, the name of our variable here is of a string type, which is the same thing with what we the return value of our method. Now remember in the rule that if you want a return value, in which case we want something to be returned, then you have to write return. What do you want to be returned? You want word to be returned. What is word? Word is in the body of our method, and the value of word here is hello. So we want hello to be returned whenever we call this method named function. Okay? So let's move into the entry point of our program. The entry point is in line 16. This is also a method. Okay? We have a main method, but it receives nothing and gives you back nothing. So it's like void. Okay? You remember void is empty. So anyway, in the body of our main method, what we have here in line 18 is we've created a string typed variable, a string typed local variable because it's inside the body of our main method. So called word and assign the value of function to it. So basically here we are calling our method here. We are calling our method named function. So what happens when we run this program and we want to call word? What happens is this word, which is hello, would be displayed. And simple. Here we have console read key is just like a delay to make you read what you have printed in your console box. So let's print it and see. Here we have hello. Well, you can put hello, for example, Max here. And what you would have is, let me just make max in capital. All right, what you'll have is hello max, and that's it. All right, now we have seen how to create this and call a method of a string typed method. Let's move on to example 4 and see what we have here. Here we also have a method. A method we created is of a string type 2. But in this case, it takes some value in a string typed value 2. And it has an argument. This argument is called name, and it's of a string type. So we put in a string type input, and we have an output which is also a string type. Remember that your input and output types have to be the same. And again, the name of our method here is function. So in the body of our method, what we have is in line 15, we created a string type variable named sentence and assigned hello, but notice this, with concatenation of the value of our input. So whatever we input here, what we'll have is hello somebody, maybe hello John, hello Mark, hello Sarah. And then you have, of course, we have added an exclamation mark here just to make it beautiful. So this is concatenation here. We are putting in a value into our method, and we want the value to be returned to us, but then with concatenation of what somebody puts in. Here again, we have return sentence. What is sentence? Sentence is just our hello plus or with concatenation of a name. Now, let's see. In the body of our main method here, what we have is, we have in line 25, created a string typed variable named sentence and assigned the value of our function to it. What's the value of our function? Well, our function is hello is sentence. And what is sentence? Sentence is hello plus a name. So automatically what we're going to get is hello and exclamation mark. But this depends on us. So here we call our function, and let's say we just put Alex here. Okay? So what is going to happen is it will concatenate hello and Alex, and we'll see hello Alex exclamation mark. This is when we have in line 27 console write line sentence. What is our sentence? Our sentence consists of our function, our method, which is called function, and Alex. So here we are calling our method, and we are even adding something into it. Let's run the program and see. Here you have hello Alex. All right, what if I want to change Alex for, let's say, Mary? So Mary with capital. Let's run it. And there we have it, hello Mary. So you can basically change whatever you want here. Let me take it back to Alex. Fine. So this is how we can use our method. We can call our method with concatenation. Okay, let's move on to the next example and see what we have. Exercise 5. Here what we have is basically similar to what we had there. Okay, this is just like an addition, and it's a very interesting addition here. Here we have our method. It's static int. Remember, I told you I'll explain what static is in the near future. So our method here is named add. And what is the type of a method? What is our return value? Our return, we want our return to be an integer type. Basically numbers, whole numbers, okay? And then in our argument here, you can see we have two arguments, argument 1 and argument 2. Argument 1 is of an int type and is called summoned 1. Argument 2 is also an int type and it's called summoned 2. So what we want to be returned, remember you have to put a return if you need a return value for your method. So return is, we want to return summon 1 plus summon 2. So this is the signature of our method, and this is the body of our method. You can see it's very easy. This is just the body signature. One line, and that's it. Now we move into the main part of our method, the main body. This is the body, our entry point. We're not putting something in, we're not getting anything out. In line 22, we've created an int-type variable named summon1. So we have summon1 here. It's of an int type too. And we assign a value of 2 to summon1. So what's the value of summon1 here? It has changed to 2. And then assign a value of 3 to summon2. So here we have 2 and 3. Okay? So in line 24, we add them. We create a new variable named sum, and it's of an int type. And then assign the value of add to it. What is add? Add is our method. Add is our method. And the value of add, what we want returned is summon1 plus summon2. So what we're asking the computer to do is, when we call this method, what we want it to do is to add these two. Add them. Summon1 plus summon2, meaning 2 plus 3, 5. Okay? And then here in line 26, we print out our result. Our result is basically, if you remember this construction clearly, what we have here will be assigned into what we have here. So summon1 is in 0 position, it will go into 0. Summon2 is in the first position, it will go into 1. And sum is in the second position, that means it will go into 2. So we'll see 2 plus 3 is equal to 5. And then again we have our delay here, read key. Okay, so if you run this program and you see it just flashes and disappears, you have to have this read key here. So let's start it and see. Here we have 2 plus 3 equals 5. Okay, of course you can change the value of this without touching the method. The method is just like a program that is saved there, and it will automatically add whatever you assign to summon1 and summon2. It will add them up. So let's change this to let's say 8, and this to, let's say 4. Okay, so start. 8 plus 4 equals 12. So whatever you put here, if it doesn't exceed the maximum capacity of our int, then you're okay. All right, it will just, let me just return this to the initial value, and that's it. So in this example, we have seen how we can use a method with this plus sign to add. So it's an addition. This method is just to add our two arguments. We have declared the arguments, we have the arguments here, and here we want to return the value of argument 1 plus argument 2. So this is just like an addition. Okay, let's move to the next example and see. In the sixth example, here we have bool. Remember that bool is true or false. Okay, so if we have a true-false scenario, what do? The method predicts methods that return a Boolean value. Okay, don't worry about that. Let's just go into line 11. We have a method. We created a method, a bool typed method named an. And here we have our two arguments, bool A and bool B. So what we want to be returned is bool A and bool B. You remember this is and. It's not, something else. It's A and B. So now let's go into the body of our method and see. And by the way, it's for logical expressions here. If it were for bitwise expression, we'll have only one. But in this case, we have logical expressions. So in line 16, we have our main method here, main entry point. It's void, and we don't input anything inside. In line 18, we have assigned a value to bool. Here we have created a bool typed variable named operand, operand 1, and assigned a value of true to it. And another one which is called operand 2, and also assign a value of true to it. In line 20, we want our result to be operand 1 and operand 2. So we created a bool typed variable 2 and named it result. Then assign the value of operand 1 and operand 2 together. You can see and operand 1, operand 2. So here we are calling the method and here we are putting whatever we have here. So A and B, what will it be? It will be A and B. Now console write line. 0 is what we have here. Operand 1 will be put here and operand 2 will be put into 1. Result will be put into 2. So what do you think the result will be? True and true. If you remember the table of truth, true and true is what? You don't have to remember everything. Let's check it out. True and true is true. Of course, you remember it from the table of truth. But when we change the value of true, let's say false, for example, false, what happens now? Let's run the program and see. True and false is equal to false. Of course, this also is in your table of truth. If you want, you can check it. It's very interesting to remember that. Basically, in this example, in example 7, what we are going to look at is creating methods that have a type of conditional input into them. Let's look at this. In line 11, we have created our method and we named it compare. Our method is a string type. But look at this. We have our arguments are in integer types, but we want our result to be a string type. So our return value will be string, but our inputs will be integer. That's correct. So our first argument is called value 1. Our second argument is called value 2. Both arguments are of the integer type. So in the body of our method, what we have here is we have created an if-else-if scenario. You remember conditionals, don't you? So in line 11, we've created we have our if operator, and then here in the conditional block, we have stated or specified value 1 is less than value 2. Okay? So if value 1 is less than value 2, return comparison just less than. This is just an example, so don't pay attention to this. But the idea is if value 1 is less than value 2, we want to see less than. Then in line 15, we have our else if operator here. And in the conditional block of else, we have value 1 is greater than value 2. Okay? What do we want to be returned? We want comparison greater than. So basically what we are doing is we are putting some numbers here. It can be 3 and 5, 2 and 1, 0 and 10. Okay? But what we want to be returned is this: less than, greater than, and equal to. So this is, let's say, a string type, but our arguments are of integer types. They are numbers, but here we are going to have some words. Okay? Now if that doesn't work, what we want to be returned is comparison is equal. So of course, if a number is not greater than another number and it's not less than another number, what we want to think is that they are equal. It's logical that they're equal. Okay? So here now in the body of our main method, we have assigned a value to operand 1 and operand 2. So this is like our values. Okay? Here we created an int type variable named operand 1 and assign a value of 1 to it. And also we create an int type variable named operand 2 and assign a value of 2 to it. So now this is where we call our method. In line 27, we create a string type variable named result and assign a value of the operation we had. So we're calling our method. Our method is going to compare these two and give us a result and return a result. Let's go up to our method and see what we have. Our method is called compare. We named it compare, so we call compare. And within compare, we have value 1 and value 2. So value 1 now it's like operand 1, and value 2 is operand 2. Okay, so but the value of operand 1 is 1, and the value of operand 2 is 2. So what are we going to do? We're going to go into the body of our method, and the body of our method will compare operand 1 and operand 2, which is 1 and 2. So 1 is less than 2. It's true. Okay, even if I step this program, that's what you will see. Let's just step it. Okay, here we have, let's see, we go up 1, 2. 1 is less than 2. It's true. So what do you think we'll see now on the screen? What we'll see is comparison less than. Let's see. As soon as we go out of here, we'll see comparison less than. Okay, so that's how it works. Now what if I put 3 here, for example, 3. Okay, let's run the program. Comparison greater than. What if I put 2 to make them equal? Start the program. Comparison equal. You see this? So let's just make this back into 1, and let's step the program, and I'll show you what I told you, and you'll see it. So first what happens is we go into our entry point, we take the value of these two. Right now the value of operand 1 is 1, the value of operand 2 is 2. But right now here, look, we don't have any values. Okay, here we don't have any values because we have not reached there. So next we call compare. Once we call compare, operand 1 is 1, operand 2 is 2. Once we call compare, we are going up into our method. This is the body of our method. Now you see value 1 and here value 2. So it has assigned the value of operand 1 and operand 2 to value 1 and value 2. So here 1, here 2. You see they have changed. So it will check, is 1 less than 2? Yes, it's true. So that means we'll compare this. If 1 is not less than 2, what will happen is we'll move to the else block. You remember that. And then we'll check it here. Is 1 less than 2? In this case, it's false. We know we're not going to run this program. We're going to run this body, okay? This instruction is going to be run. So if both cases are not correct, we move into the third case and we just write comparison equal. Sorry, they're here. Comparison equal. Okay, and then of course we go out of the line. So that's how it works, and that's how you can call a method which has a conditional in it. Let's move on to the next example and see what we have here. All right, so in this example we're going to take a look at watch operators. Okay, watch operators are operators we use to filter some word that we don't want our user to input. Okay, we want to protect some nominal variant. Now let's look at the 9th line. In the 9th line, what we have done is we've created a method named function, and it's of a string type, meaning it's returning a string value. Okay, in the argument of this method we have a name, and it's also of a string type. So our argument is name with a string type, and this argument will be returned later. Okay, so let's look at line 13. In line 13, we've created a kind of guard operator using if. So it's like a conditional, okay? But it's just the use of if here. So if the name, which is this one, which is what the user will input, if the name is equal to full. We don't want to use full. We want full to be excluded from our list of words that can be used. So if the name is equal to full, then return you have used an invalid word. Return simply means like print out or show the guy the message that you have used an invalid word. Okay, so now nobody can use full. If he or she tries to use full, you'll get a message, you have used an invalid word. All right, now let's look at line 20. In line 20, take note that we have assigned a value of hello with concatenation of the name that the person uses. So the name here is full, and full cannot be entered. He'll see this message. But what if he writes another name? What if this name is another name altogether? So as you can see, when I highlight this, 1, 2, 3 have been highlighted. So all of them are the same. So if somebody writes, let's say for example, Alex here, or Mark, or John, or Sarah, or whatever, this is the name that will be checked. If Alex is not equal to full, then what we should expect is hello Alex. If it is, let's say, Jane, and Jane is not equal to full, then what we should see is hello Jane, and of course this exclamation mark. Okay, so if this is the case, if we've reached this level, then return sentence. And what's the value of our sentence? The value of our sentence is hello and whatever name we put here, and then this exclamation mark. Okay, so let's move on to the main body of our program here. So in the main block, what we have here is string. We've created a string type variable named sentence, and now we are calling our method. Okay, we're calling our method and full in bracket. So let's step this program and follow it step by step and see how it works. Let's just scroll up and remember F11. So of course we'll start from main because this is our entry point. Okay, so here we go. Sentence, function. See, everything is now okay. Let's move. Then it goes to our method. It has called our method. From here we call our method. We're in the method block now, and name is equal to full. So what do you expect? We are not going to run this. We're going to run you have used an invalid word. So let's see. You have used an invalid word. You see, we moved in here. So we're not going to hello full. We're just going straight down into the body and check sentence. Look at what is going to happen. You have used an invalid word. So here again, the sentence, you have used an invalid word. And then of course we read key and we print it out. You have used an invalid word. Okay, let's try changing this name now. Let's try changing the meaning. Let's try and use another word. Okay, so what do we do here? We change it. Let's see. Function, and let's say what? Whose name can we use? Let's use Mary. Okay, Mary. Okay, so now let's step the program and see if we're correct or not. All right, so we're here. We go, we check. Name now is Mary is not equal to full. So are we going into this block? No, we are not, because it's not equal to full. And then we jump into here, and you can see, sorry, when we go out, you can see our sentence becomes hello Mary. So we go into return sentence, and what are we going to return? Hello Mary. So let's step it again and see. Now right line, what are we going to see? Now take note, nothing is here. Okay, hello Mary, and read key. Hello Mary has been printed. So if you want to filter some word or name or whatever you want to filter, this is a very easy and simple way you can do it. Okay, all right, let's move on to the next example and take a look at reference. Fine. So in this example, I'm going to show you something that might seem a little bit confusing, but I promise you it's easy if you pay attention and you follow step by step. Okay, first of all, what we're going to look at is methods with variable parameters. Ref is equal to in or out. You remember that a method has an input and an output. Okay, but what is this ref? What is the meaning of this ref? Ref means a reference. Okay, let me just show you how Microsoft defined ref, and you'll understand a little bit, and then I'll explain more, and then you'll understand everything. So let's go to msdn.com. Here we are. So the ref keyword causes an argument to be passed by reference, not a value, but just by reference. The effect of passing by reference is that only any change to the parameter in the method is reflected in the underlying argument variable in the calling method. So when you're calling it, that's when the change reflects. The value of a reference parameter is always the same as the value of the underlying argument variable. Okay? Now that's good. Let's go down here. I guess you understand something, but let's try and see how it works here, and then you'll understand everything. Now, in line 12, we created a method and we named it method, okay? An int-type method named method, so we're expecting an int-typed return from this method, okay? Now we have our keyword ref, and in the argument, we've also have created some int-typed variable named a. So in this argument here, we have a int-typed and it has a reference. We'll see the use of this reference very soon. In line 14, we have created an int-typed variable named b and assigned a value of a multiplied by 2 to 8. But what's the value of a? We don't know. So right now, there is no value for a. Then in line 15, we assigned a value to a. The value we assigned to a is 5. Okay, so you might be thinking that b will be 5 times 2, 10. No, that's not correct. Okay, just listen to the end and you'll get it. So in line 16, we're returning the value of b. So whatever we have here is going to be the value for b, and we'll return it. Okay, now let's go into the body of our main part. The main part, or the entry point, anyone you want to call it. So in line 21, we created an int-typed variable named operand and assigned a value of 2 to 8. Okay, now operand assigned a value of 2. Remember this. Then in line 23, we created an int-typed variable too named result, and we called our method here. Okay, here is the point where we call our method. Our method ref and operand. Okay, so what is our method? Our method is ref int a, and here we have operand is here and a is here. So basically what we are doing is we're assigning the value of this operand that we have here to our operand here. So this, and this should be of the same value right now. Okay, but step by step we'll change the value, and the method will change the value of this too. So here we have 2 and 2 here right now. Okay, then if we move up here, what do you think a will be? Of course a will be 2, because we have ref operand. If we didn't have this ref, then it might not work. What we are doing is here we are asking it to copy the value of this operand here and put it right in here. So we're copying this, putting it right in here, and then going up here with it. So here we have 2, 2, 2, and a here will also be 2. So 2 times 2, 4 will be, 4 will be our answer. 4 will be the value of b. Okay, then let's just step this program and I'll show you. F11 to step it. So here we go. What's the value of our operand here? 2. Okay, here the value is still 2. Yes, so we go up and now we're inside here, and you can see the value of a has changed to 2. What this means is this operand has affected this a as ref. It's like a reference, because we have reference operand reference a, so like a reference, and that's why we have the value of a to be 2 here. Now if we step down, b is 0, a is 2, 2 multiplied by 2, or a multiplied by 2, is 4. So when we step down, b will be 4. Exactly. So now we have the value of b. And the value of a here is still 2. A is 2. But when we step out, it will change. So the value of a has changed because we've assigned a new value to it right here after this operation. So after this operation, here a was 2. Now it's 5 already, but we have already our result. We already have 4. It's not affecting this operation because we assigned a new value to a after this operation. So value of b, 4, will return the value of b. But before that, let's see if this method can change the value of this operand here. Let's step down, and look. Operand, the value is now 5, not 2. So here it has changed to 5 too. So 5, not 2. So when we write this out, here what we should see is operand here, which is 5, will be put in here, and result here, which is 4, will be put in here. So our result here is 2 multiplied by 2, or a multiplied by 2. That is before we change the value of 5. But here we have changed the value of the operand to 5, so we'll see 5 and 4. Let's check that out. Here we go. We have 5 and 4. Exactly. Now let's close this. Now you can see the value of a only changed after we assigned it here. When it was here, it was 2, but when we moved in here, it was a. So the value of b is not affected by this change. Now, what if we don't have this ref? Let's remove the ref and see what will happen. If we don't have this ref, it means we are not changing the value of our operand. It's still going to be 2. It's just going to be 2, 2, 2, and that's it. We're not going to change it. It's not going to affect this. Let's step this program now without our ref. So start from the main operand. If we step out, it will be 2. So operand is 2. Here 2. And then we go in here. Here it's 2. Here it's 2. Yeah. And now it's still 2 because we don't have ref. Step out. That's changed to 5. Yes, we assigned a new value to it. That's correct. But let's see if it will affect this. It's still 2. It doesn't go in here. You see, it's still 2. It won't affect this 2. So what will we have? We'll have 2 multiplied by 2, which is 4. Okay? But here, our operand will not change. So when you move into here, you'll find out that instead of having 5, like in our previous example with ref, here we don't have ref. So we're not going to change the value of this operand. It will be 2. So what will you expect to be our result now? Our result is still going to be 4 because 2 multiplied by 2 is 4. So our result will be 4. But what will be our operand? Our operand will be 2. Simple. So we'll have 2 and 4. Let's run it and see. Here we go. 2 and 4. So you see how to use a reference. It's just something that would allow you to change the value of an operand or an argument, or even, let's say, a variable somewhere in your work. And you're okay. Let's move to the next example and see something similar. In this example now, we're going to look at out. Remember, we had ref and now we have out. What does out mean? Well, let me just explain a little. Let me bring back our presentation. Now, you know this, of course, it's very familiar. We have input, output. But I would like to say something else. Here we have another output. Okay, here you can have another output. It's not restricted for only inputs here. You can have input and output right in here. But then again, this out that is here is divided into two. Let's see, 1, 2. One of them, let's say the first one, just an example. One of them is out, the other one is ref. So here we have out, ref, and out. It is divided into two. This out that comes out from this place is divided into two, and now we have out and ref. Okay, I will show you the difference in a moment. Let me just take this back to how it was, and we go back to our out. Output parameters need to be changed in the method body, otherwise there will be an error. Let's say otherwise there will be an error. Okay, right in here in our 9th example where we had ref, well, in ref you don't necessarily have to change it. It's just like a warning. It might change. It's not a must, it's not necessary, it's not obligatory, but you're just being warned or told that, okay, the value of our operand or argument might change, but it is not necessary. I showed you the example with ref and without ref, so we could change it to 5 and we could just leave it as it was, 2. Okay, so let's take a look at how this works and see. Here, output parameters need to be changed in the method body, otherwise there will be an error. So let me just try and explain this before we step the program and then run it and see what will happen. Here we have created a method named method, and we in our argument section we have an int type variable and we have a. Okay, then we have the keyword out. Instead of ref, here we have out, and we're expecting a return of an integer, which means a number, whole number. Then in line 12 we've assigned a value to a, and the value we assigned is 2. Okay, now remember that we need to change the parameters, the output parameters in out. Okay, so here we want to return a multiplied by 2. So a is 2. 2 multiplied by 2, what we're expecting to return here is 4. Okay, now in line 18 we've created an int type variable named operand, and we haven't initialized it first. It doesn't have any value right now. So this is like a special feature of out. Out allows passing uninitialized variables to the method. So although this method is not initialized, we can still pass it to the method. Okay, let's move on and see. Here in line 22 we have created an int typed local variable named result and called our method here. So our method out operand. Operand is this, and we are putting it right in here, although it doesn't have any value yet. Okay, and here we want to put the value of our operand here and the value of our result here. What's our result? Our result is a multiplied by 2. So let's step this program together and see. Here we start. Move into the main. Operand is 0. We didn't even touch it because it is not initialized. And we move in here. Operand is still 0, and we're assigning it to the method. We're passing it to the method. Why? Because out allows us to do so. It's a special feature of out. Out has this feature. So when we move next, we come into our method. Here the value of a is 0, and we go out, it's 2. So 2 multiplied by 2, we have 4. So we are returning 4. And we go in here, you can see here our operand has changed to 2, and here it's 2. So operand 2, result, if we step out, result 4. So what we're expecting to see is 2 and 4. let's see, 2 and 4 exactly. So let's close this and try to do something else. Let's try to assign a new value to our operand and see. We have 2 and 4. Nothing has changed. Nothing. Our operand will not change because we are using out. What if we try to assign a value to a new value to a? Let's just move down here. A is, let's see, let's assign a value of 5 to a. I'm just trying to show you the methods that will not work. Assign a value to a, new value. Let's see if it will change to 5. Start. No, it will not change. There is nothing that you can do to change it here. But, well, there are, of course, some ways, but basically now there's no way you can change the value of a. So this is out. Out needs to be changed, and here we have to change the value of our operand, but in ref you might change it or not. So let's move on to our next video and next example and see. Moving on to example 11, we'll still keep on learning out. Now, in this example, in line 11, what we have done is we've created a method named method, which has one argument, and this argument is of int type and it's called a. Okay? Take note, we have out here. I just want you to notice this out. It's not ref here, it's out. Meaning that we have to change the value of our a. So we have to assign a new value to a. And what is our new value here? Our value is 1. So we've assigned a value to a. What if we somehow comment this out? What will happen is we'll get, you see, here we have an error. So immediately you'll see that we'll start getting errors and things like that. But when we remove this and now it's active, our error will go. So we have a and we've assigned a new value to a, which means we are following the procedure. And here we have return to. Return is like your result. It's what you want to be given to you in this case. Okay, so it's like our result here. Now, in the body of our main method here, in the body of our main part, what we have is in line 21, we've created an int type variable named operand, but we haven't assigned any value to it. It is not initialized at the moment. Well, of course, we remember that out allows you to pass uninitialized variables to the method. So, of course, it's not difficult to assign a value of, let's say, 0 or 1. Let's say 0, okay? 0 to 0. But we don't want to do that because let's just follow the rules and it's okay. I just want to show you that you can do this without assigning a method. This is just like a rule and you have to know it. If you want, you can put it. If you don't want, just leave it like this. Of course, some people have other methods of doing this, but I want to show you like the basics, what you are allowed to do and what you are not allowed to do, okay? Because we're just learning. Now, in line 25, we created an int type variable named result. Okay, it's a local variable since it's in the body. So if you hear local variables, it means they are in the body. And now we assign the value of our method here to it. So what's the value of our method here? The value of our method is out operand here, out int typed a. So a is the value of operand. Now a has a value of 1. So right now our operand is 0. But once we go into the method and come down here, it will change to 1, okay? But our result is now 0, 2. But we have to go into the method and get the value of our result and put it right in here, okay? So, once again, let's just step this program and let's see step by step how it works. Don't worry, we'll stop stepping very soon as I'm sure you understand everything. So here, let's go in here. What's the value of operand? 0. Value of, even if I go out, value of, oh, it's gone. All right, anyway, these values are also 0. But when we go up here and we go in here, 0, and we're in here, we've assigned a new value, go out, it has changed to 1. We've taken our result or return and we're putting it right in here. So now it's 0. Very good. You can see it's 0 here, but here has changed to 1 because we've already assigned it. Once we step out, look at this. It's changing to. So it's changing to 2. So our return is like our result here. So when we print out this, what we'll see is 1 and 2. 1 and 2. All right, let's print it out. Here we go. 1 and 2. So this is another way you can use out in methods. All right, let's move on to example 12 and see something else. Is it example 12? Yes, it is. Fine. So here we have add 2, and it has an argument here, one argument, an int-typed argument named a. Okay, it returns nothing, remember, void. But let's just look at this. In line 8, we created a method named add2 with one argument, int a. Then in line 10, what we did was we add with, you see, addition with assignment 2. So wherever we have this a, we'll have 2. 2 is 8. We'll always add 2 to it. Now, what's the value of a here? When we step it, you'll see. And in line 11, we're asking somehow the computer to type in the value of our a, which is 2. So you'll see value of int a is equal to 2. Now, in the main body or in the main method here, what we have is in line 16, we're asking the person or the user to write a number. Like we're asking the console to write this to the user. Enter a number. And the user, of course, will enter some number. And where do we read his number? Where do we take the input? Here, he has entered a number, let's say 3 or 5, whatever. And in line 20, we are taking in his entered number or his input, you see, read line. So we're reading whatever the user inputs, and we're assigning it to this local variable named number. But our local variable is of a string type. So how can he enter a number, let's say 5, and then we convert it into string type? This is like characters. You remember this is characters for things like hello, hi, and mark, and so on and so forth. And here we have a number. So we're taking this number, assigning it to this local variable named number, but it's of a string type. So what do? You want to get a number as your result. You convert. You convert from your string type to an int type, okay? And how can we do this? Here in line 21, we've created another local variable named result. But this time our local variable is of int type, which means we want result to have an int value. Int is for what? Int is for whole numbers. That's correct. Now, but here is the most interesting part here. Here we are converting number, which is a string type, into int 33. You can see this parse here. Parse means if you want to convert string representations of a number to its 32-bit signed integer equivalent. So you use int.parse if you want to convert a string type number to an integer or 32-bit. Fine. So here we have our conversion, and of course we ask the console to write this out. Value of result, and we take result and we put in here. So the value of our result will be whatever the user inputs here, just in line 20, whatever he puts here will be converted into int and will be displayed here. Then we move on to line 26. Here we have add 2. Okay, we have add 2 and result. So what will happen is in line 27, you'll see the console will write value of result, and it will take the result and put it right in here. As an argument, not variable, result is passed itself, but its copy. What does this mean? It means we are not passing this result in here. We are taking a copy of it, just a copy, okay? So We're taking the copy of our result and we're putting it right here, but our result is still there. All right, fine. Let's move on to the next example, or let's step this if you want. Let's step this program. Let's step this program. So here again, we move in and ask, enter a number. So it will write it here. Enter a number. And then enter a number, let's say 5. Enter. F11. So number is 5 now. Okay? Result is 5. Number is 5, result is 5. Why? Because we just entered 5. I don't want to go write in something because I know what I'm doing. I know it's int, so I put it in here. But somebody might write something else. So result 5, and it will put 5 right in here. So value of result is equal to 5. You can see value of result is equal to 5. That's all. Very easy program, very easy topic. Let's move on to the next example now. Here we have almost the same thing. We have add to, but this time we have ref. Okay, now that was out, this is ref. Now remember, ref is just like, well, the value can be changed. It may be changed or it may not be changed. So here in line 8 we have created a method named add to, and in the argument of this method we have a variable of int typed, but here we have our keyword ref. Ref means, of course, we can change it if we want and we can leave it if we don't want. So here in this case what we have is the same idea that we had there. A, and we assign a value of a plus 2 to it. Yeah, and console right line, what is the value of 2 here? What's the value of a here? The value of a is 2. Simple. So we put 2 in here and everybody knows the value of a now. Next, in line 14 we created our main body here, and we're starting our main body, and in the body of this, in the block of this main part, what we have is we are asking the computer to write enter number again. So enter number will be printed on the screen, and it will accept an input from the user and convert it into an integer value. Here is the same thing. We accepted the value of whatever the user puts and put it into number and convert it again, you see it here, and put it right in here. Okay, and we print the result out, of course. As an argument, the variable result is passes itself, not its copy. All right, so in this case, if you have ref, you are passing the variable's result itself, not its copy. Okay, now you have here in line 26 add to ref result. So what you are going to do is you take the value of result and put it in here. Simple, and that's it. Okay, so now what you would see here is we're still in methods, mind you, and in line 7 what we have here is we created a method named add, and it has 3 arguments: argument 1, argument 2, and argument 3. Now you can clearly see ref int x, ref int y, and int sum. So here you'll think that, okay, since it's ref, we may change the value of our variables. Okay, so but look at this. Let's move into this code and see what will happen. Here we have sum, but sum doesn't have ref, and in the body of our method we have sum, and we assigned a value of x plus y to sum. All right, so the method is very easy. Just calculate x and y, maybe 2 and 3, 5 and 4. All right, so in the main body in line 12 we created another method named main, which is the entry point of our program here. So first what will happen is something will be printed on the screen because we have right line here. Enter the first number. Then this first number that the user enters will be read and will be assigned to operand 1. What is operand 1? Operand 1 is x. Then next in line 17 we convert this and put it right in here. Okay, we convert operand 1 into int 32 and put it right into summand 1. Then after that, something else will be printed on the screen. Enter the second number, but this will happen very fast. You will not even notice. You'll just see enter first number. As soon as you press enter, you'll see enter the second number. You'll enter the second number. The same procedure will happen, and in sum here is 0, and we call our method. Calling our method, because the sum here is equal to 0, if we call our method will calculate it and assign it to sum. Okay, so here what will happen is summand 1 will be put in here, summand 2 will be put in here, and the result will be put in here. Okay, but this program will not work. Okay, it will not work. It has an error. I'll explain and I will see if you can notice where the error is. Let's press F. No, let's just start it from here. Here we go. Enter the first number, 5. Enter. Second number, 3. 5 plus 3 is equal to 0. Oh my God, it's not correct. We have a problem. So what's the problem? Can you guys somehow notice where the problem is? Well, the problem is, you see, we had changed the value of x and also changed the value of y. But we didn't change the value of sum. Sum is what we want to change, not what the user inputs. If somebody inputs 3 here, do we want to change 3? No. If he inputs 5 here, do we want to change 5? No. But our sum here is equal to 0. Here sum is equal to 0. This is what we want to change. So this is where our ref should be, not here. We don't need ref here. But wait. Here we have ref. Now notice something. This is the code. Okay, this is our method code, and this is somebody else writing this code. Let's say, for example, 2 people are writing this code. This is a method somebody wrote, and this programmist here is trying to use the same method. He's calling the method. So of course you can see ref, and ref. So ref and out are used up as pairs. They are never used alone. If you use them alone, just like, let me show you what I mean. Let's just remove this ref, remove this ref, remove this ref, remove this ref. Now, what do you see here? We have one ref and we don't have another ref here. And we have an error. And our program will not work correctly. There were build errors. Do you want, wait. You see, argument 3 must be passed with the ref keyword. So we must put ref to argument 3. Where is argument 3? Argument 1, argument 2, argument 3. So ref. Now let's try it. It's working. You see? So basically here the mistake was we didn't need to put ref here, we only needed to put ref here because this is what we want to change. The value of course will change because x and y can vary, but the sum we want it to be changed to whatever x and y are, or whatever x plus y is. So let's run the program now and see. 5, I'll just repeat the same, let's say plus 3, enter. Now you see our program is correct and it's working normally. So try to remember that you put ref where you want to change something or where something has to be changed, and ref and out are used as pairs. They are never used alone. Okay, so let's just take this back to normal as it was. All right, let's move on to the last example we have here. Now in this example we have in line 7 created also a method named add, and the same thing we have here. Ref, we have 3 arguments, argument 1, argument 2, but notice this, in argument 3 we have out. Okay, so what do you see here? What you see here is something similar to that. We have 3, yes, we have 3, ref out, and we have sum is equal to x plus y. So we've assigned the value of this operation to sum. You'll say now, well, yes, everything is okay because out, we must change the value and we're changing the value of sum, so everything is correct. And here we have ref, out. So we have converted, we have done everything here. Take your time and look at this, okay? You can pause it. But will this work? Yes, it will work. Let's run it and see. Let's try 5, enter, second number, 5, enter. 5 plus 5 is equal to 10. Yes, it's working. But what do we have here? We have excess words. We have ref here. Do we need ref? Do we want to change the value of what the first number is? No, we don't need it. Do we need to change this? No. Remove it here. Remove it here. Just to make the job, let's say, easier and clearer. Yeah? So you see, no errors whatsoever. No errors. What we need to do now is to run the program and see if it will work. And of course it will work, because we are not going to change the value of x, which the user inputs. We're going to leave it 5 here, 5 here. We're not changing it. What we are definitely changing is sum. And the sum can change. 5 plus 5, 10. But 5 plus 3 is 8. So, of course, it changes. Let's run the program. And the same thing. 5, enter, 5, enter, 10. So you don't need this excess keywords and operators. You don't need all of those, okay? Try to make your job as easy as possible. Now, the reason why I'm showing you this is because you will see a lot of codes written by a lot of people, different people in different ways. And you would know how to make a code smaller or bigger, or how to even correct mistakes in codes very soon, okay? So I need you to just practice this. Play with it a little, look for your own method, practice what we've done here, and do your best, okay? So let's move on to our presentation, and I think we have finished here. The lesson is over, lesson 7, and we can move on to our presentation now. So as usual, a very quick review. You remember what a method is. It's a named part of a software that can be called and be reused. This is how it looks. We have an input, output. But then again, remember that it can be an increment, and this is how you can increase a number. You put 1 and get 2 out. You also remember that we have functional and procedures. We have functions and procedures. Functions have input, output, or functions have output always, but not always input. Then procedures can have input, but they will never have output. So no input, no output here. Input but no output here, input, output, no input but output, okay? And then again, we looked at the signature and body of a method. Remember this, remember that this is the body, signature, and the signature consists of 3 parts: the return value, the identifier or the name, and of course your argument. And you have seen that you can have 1, 2, 3, and so on and so forth. So you can have a lot of arguments. Next, we just looked at how we can create methods and how to correctly invoke or call a method. Alright, so thank you very much for your time and attention. I hope you have enjoyed this lesson, and I've hoped you have learned something very interesting, and you will use it in the wisest way possible. Once again, I'm Rashid Hamid, working for Cyber Bionic Systematics. See you next time.